Hi everybody, welcome to Simply Scuba. On today's episode of Daily Deco, we are celebrating the fact that it's Monday, trying to lighten up the beginning of your week, so you start the week with a smile with our usual weird news and banter and stuff. So we've got 4 news stories. What's happened as far as Simply Scuba? So the first thing is that we're finally getting actual physical, tangible scuba diving products again. So we've been releasing product overviews, which is basically me describing the products. And even though I mentioned at the beginning of all of them, of course, with everything that's going on at the moment, I can't just nip to the warehouse and get bits and bobs. And everyone's like, oh, but where's the piece of equipment that you're talking about? Fine. So we've spoken to people, and we're sort of organising it so that we can get some sort of products at cost, I will note. So yeah, you guys can actually physically see me sort of touching and holding stuff. We got some new stuff coming that I can't talk about yet. So yeah, in the next few weeks you'll start to see more sort of actual tangible product reviews, me talking about new dive equipment, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, we started up email campaigns as well. So if you're not part of the crew, then you would have missed out on the discount code that was live for a few days. So yeah, if you haven't signed up for Simply Scuba emails, then definitely do so. And that's about it as far as Simply Scuba news. In today's episode of Daily Deco, we're going to be talking about the Zeagle Recon Fins, which are pretty tough sort of pair of fins, similar to the RK3s, but with a bit more kind of swooshy kind of styling. But I'll talk more about them later. The first news story comes from Scotland, and this is there's a petition at the moment, which we encourage you to sign. There's a link down in the description below. Don't click it yet, because that will take you away from us. What you can do is you can open it in a new tab, so you can still listen to us, sort of our voices playing through a different tab, but whilst you're sort of signing the petition. The petition is for, basically there is a diving lake which is kind of across the river from Edinburgh, and lots of people sort of learn to dive there, and there had been some accidents sort of recently, so there were sort of plans with the developer to basically build a PADI dive center there, and they would get everything back up to scratch. The developer was planning to build like a handful of houses sort of on the area, as well as this PADI dive center. And that was way back in 2016 is when the discussion started with that. But then they had all their plans, and they were going all through sort of bits and bobs. But then in March of 2020, so last year, at the beginning of lockdown, the development plans changed hands to a new developer, and because everything was on lockdown, the dive instructors and people were sort of planning and sort of being part of sort of what the lake was going to become. They didn't really have sort of much input, didn't think really sort of much of it, until they were reading the local newspaper one morning, and that's how they found out that the new developer had just gone, I can't be bothered for any of this sort of scuba diving stuff. We just plan to like partially or wholly fill in the lake and just build a whole bunch of houses. That's all we're interested in. So So of course they want to do something about it, and so there's a change.org petition to that you can sign for free. You can contribute to it if you want to, but you don't have to. And it's basically to sort of encourage the new developer to actually build a proper dive center there, because it would become a sort of a multi-water sport sort of centre. It would bring a huge amount of revenue to the area, and there's no real sort of downsides, because all they really seem to think is just like, oh, we need to build houses. Oh, we got this space. Oh, it's got some water in it. Oh, let's just fill it in and build some houses on it. But so yeah, if you do have a spare few minutes after this, definitely sort of head over to the change.org link. Shaun will put a link down in the description below and sign that. Yeah. I mean, the article says, together with other divers and members of the local community, Burles, who's the sort of dive instructor, is trying to raise awareness of the project and preserve Prestonhill Quarry and the local environment for the use of police dive teams, fire and rescue, dog walkers. Obviously, they're not going to take the dogs under the water. Scuba divers, dive schools, fishermen. I don't really want ghost gear around in my sort of diving lakes, but whatever.
It's not your diving lake, Mark. It's not yours.
Yeah. Turns out Mark was the new developer all the time. I wish I had that much money.
Yeah.
Kayaking, open water swimming, and other responsible leisure activities. So he's keen to find out that the quarry at the and the local area is also an important habitat for an astronomical amount of wildlife, including frogs, newts, perch, pike, deer, bats, and waterfowl. So again, that's kind of more sort of arsenal for him, so that he can sort of say, oh, well, actually no, if you fill this in, you're going to put all of these animal species in danger as well. So yeah, after this, click on the link down in the description below and sign that petition. Do it. Order 66 it. So the next one that had nothing to do with Order 66, wasn't it? That was killing Count Dooku.
Do it. Do it. Rebels.
Do it. Do it. So the next news story sticks in Scotland, and this was so a salmon farm in Scotland. Now they have their big sort of pens out in the water, so that the fish get the natural nutrients and the water sort of coming through. They're protected from things. Unfortunately, a group of seals basically went, screw that, and literally like a pack of Navy SEALs, they infiltrated and just absolutely decimated this salmon farm. Now they broke in to multiple nets and they killed like a whole bunch, but obviously in damaging the nets, a lot of the fish ended up going through. Apparently they lost more than 52,000 juvenile fish, and this is all on New Year's Eve, December 31st, and yeah, they say that they killed a lot of fish. Two, a lot of fish were kind of like stunned by the kind of stress, so they all died as well. The ones that didn't die have just like swum free, and they're in just the local waterways, so they're desperately trying to sort of catch the fish and sort of bring them back, because they're technically their property. The one thing that's really a kind of a knife in their side is that they actually had planned to build more predator preventative nets to prevent this from happening, and they were due to be installed at the end of January, I believe. So yeah, they were just a few weeks out, and yeah, these seals just sort of came through and yeah, just decimated it.
There was obviously a mole. So in the planning committee about this protection, obviously, did they not notice that Greg, he had a trench coat on, he smelled a bit fishy, and he had some glasses
and some huge whiskers.
Yes. He just gelled it. Big old steampunk beard, moustache.
So the SSPO Chief Executive Tavish Scott said salmon farms and seals can coexist quite happily in the marine environment. Seals can, however, inflict vicious and widespread damage on seal farms, killing significant numbers of fish in each attack. This distressing incident shows that our farmers need access to a range of effective tools and measures to deter seal attacks and protect their livestock. So I don't know what they're planning. So the organisation said recent legislation had reduced the methods available to fish farmers to manage the problem, including a ban on the use of lethal controls.
Okay.
A change which will come into effect at the end of January. So how I kind of read into that is that they're not allowed to like kill the seals to keep them away.
Yeah.
But they do still have some methods to try and prevent them.
Electrified defences underwater. That was the seals.
Yeah.
I just got an image on New Year's Day. So they're walking back to the farm, and they've got these seals. Yeah. They're still there, but they're so fat that they can't move. They're just sitting there going, oh, you get the Christmas dinner coma. The seals have just got that. Oh.
I had a dog like that once, and we'd gone out, and she'd managed to get a loaf of bread off the side of the kitchen counter, and she'd eaten all of the inside and all the soft like good bread, and we just came back and she was just lying on her side with this huge stomach, like empty water bowl because she was so thirsty. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my god, we leave you for like half an hour and this is what you do. Terrible.
Just imagine, you work there, like you're the security guard. Greg, you left the gate open again.
Oh, they said they were peaceful protesters. just let them in.
With their little banners. Again, trench coats, steampunk moustaches. That's how they got tricked, mate.
Apparently this is a huge problem. So more than 500,000 Scottish farmed salmon have died as a result of seal attacks over the year, from May 2020. So they're getting clever. They're like, why should I go to like extra effort to try and hunt these wild fish when there's just like a really neatly packaged thing? All I have to do is just rip through this netting. And get into them.
Yeah, it's like they're these fish farms for seals are like the McDonald's.
Yeah,
it's literally like a fast food chain restaurant. It's like they're all there. Thanks.
Yeah, hopefully they can find a non-lethal, sort of environmentally friendly way of sort of preventing seals from getting in. So a live and let live kind of thing, or whether they just feed them.
Yeah.
Just give them a tribute. Just give them a little bit of sort of food, they'll hang around.
Build a statue in their honour. They'll appreciate that.
Yeah. If you don't, because a hungry seal will break in.
Oh yeah.
But a seal that's been fed recently is gonna. It's not worth my effort if I'm gonna get a free one. I don't know. Who knows? It's not my problem. So the scuba diving product that I'm talking about today is the Zeagle Recon fins. So these are a single piece of they'll probably call it monoprene or something, sort of rubberized, sort of tough, harsh sort of material. So there's no weak points on it. These are effectively just a paddle fin because they're not vented. They're not particularly sort of channeled. They do have rails on them, some big chunky rails to really sort of channel the water down towards the tip of the fin. But the overall shape of the blade doesn't seem to sort of change too much. Metal spring heel, so it's really strong and easy to get in, even with a single hand. And they're relatively short. They're only about 63 centimeters long. So yeah, if you're in confined environments, like you're inside a wreck or something, then you've got nice, neat sort of little fin kicks. And so they're negatively buoyant. So if you find you have floaty legs, then you strap a pair of these on. That's going to help with that, keep you a bit more trim. They're a tough pair of fins. I like them. The first time I saw them, you're like, yeah, that's a good solid pair of fins. And they've got a nice amount of sort of style to them. They're a more sort of a modern version of like the sort of RK3 kind of rocket fins. They're a bit longer, but with a bit more kind of swoosh to them. Definitely check them out.
That's all right, isn't it?
I'm liking. Yeah, I'm quite liking Zeagle's new sort of 2020, 2021 sort of range of dive equipment. It's definitely got a good swooshy kind of style to it.
Are they new? As in when Internet Fusion bought scuba, or did we have them in the previous scuba?
We had Zeagle before, but because they're a relatively small brand here in the UK, we didn't stock too much of it because there wasn't a huge amount of demand for it. People weren't sort of looking for it. They're huge in America, but yeah, they're not so big here in the UK, so they're trying to sort of break our market and sort of get in.
Well, we're definitely the right website and the right site to do that.
Yeah, and the equipment is fantastic. It's perfectly good dive equipment. It's relatively unknown. I think the main thing that we got in was the Xena BCD, that women's BCD. Instead of having like proper straps and that's kind of it, they had this kind of neoprene panel with the zipper down the front, so it was much more comfortable depending on your body shape, and it had sort of 6-point harness, so yeah, no matter what your body shape was, it was much more comfortable. The only downside was if you had a dry suit, it would cover up the dry suit valve if it was like smack dab in the center of your chest. But yeah, it is a good brand, a good strong brand, and they're basically paired with Atomic Aquatics. So yeah, so they can share technology and sort of materials and stuff. So it's verging on kind of premium, but at a sensible kind of price point. So it's that real sort of Goldilocks, sort of best of both worlds. So yeah, definitely check out Zeagle. Awesome. And yeah, the Zeagle Recon Fins, if you want a pair of sort of tough black sort of monoprene fins, check them out. Next news story comes from Australia.
Crikey, mate.
And crikey. So there's a social media campaign at the moment by the Australian Marine Conservation Society, the AMCS, who are basically, if you go to, we have a similar thing here in the UK, where if you go to a fish and chip shop and you look through the menu and you'll see sort of cod and plaice and this, that and the other. In Australia, they'll have something called Flake. And Flake is one of those generic fish kind of terms, which it could be one fish one day and then a completely different fish another day. It's that kind of, it's Flake. All right. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of fish that is marked up on the fish and chip shop as Flake is actually endangered sharks. Now, there are quite a few sort of edible shark species sort of out in Australia which aren't endangered, and it's relatively okay to sort of eat them. But because you get this kind of bycatch, and actually some of the endangered shark species, there is actually a fishing quota. It's only, you can catch like one or two, you can't catch tons of them. But if you catch them, you're not going to be sent to jail. Yeah, there's this kind of disconnect between the time when it gets caught and when it actually makes it to the dinner table, in that, yeah, it's just, it is Flake. So a lot of people don't really know what they're eating. So yeah, the AMCS has basically said, right, say no to Flake. I think the official hashtag is give Flake a break. Is great when it rhymes. Yes. And they're saying that, yeah, we need to be a bit more savvy on what we're actually eating, because a lot of people don't know that Flake could actually be scalloped hammerhead, or it could be another endangered shark species. So they're saying, nah, just try and sort of order something else, because a lot of the time there is a more sustainable option for just like $2 more. So yeah, just instead of just going for, I'll just have the Flake because it's $2 cheaper, actually just ask the fishmonger, do you know what this is, and try and sort of work it out. Now, this sort of campaign has sort of gone into sort of full streams, and people are starting to sort of be a bit more aware of things. Obviously, the fishing industry have kind of not shot back, but kind of said, well, guys, this is actually quite damaging for us. So I read an interview with one sort of fishing couple, and they basically said that they go through jump through so many hoops, they have to do so much paperwork, and they literally have to like itemize every single fish, especially the sharks that they catch, before they even make it back to port, where they're like immediately inspected by, I don't know, port authorities or whoever it was, and they go through everything and go yes. So the moment it's landed on the boat, it is all sort of itemized and they know exactly what is caught. So then when it goes to market, it's sold as exactly what it is. But then there's some disconnect between being sold to the fish market and then sort of ending up on the on your plate. Basically, there's a disconnect where it's all kind of muddled up and it's just termed as it's flake. So they're like, instead of saying completely no to flake, what we need to do is actually reinforce our like naming legislation. There should be something that says, okay, you can't just call it flake. You have to actually specify what this is so that people can make more informed decision. And there kind of is a voluntary sort of legislation. I don't know if it's legislation or like requirements, whatever the official word is, but there are things sort of out there where if you want to, you can sort of say, yeah, exactly what it is, but it's voluntary. So a lot of people just say, instead of putting scalloped hammerhead sort of on the chalkboard, they'll just put flake. And the fishermen are saying, yeah, we're kind of all for cut down on endangered species. However, it's still legal to sort of catch in certain numbers, and maybe we just need to force fishmongers or sort of whoever it is to physically state, right, this is such and such and this is such and such. Get rid of these like vague terms like flake. What do we have over here, Shaun? Is it rock?
Yeah, rock. I think last year or the year before there was a thing very similar to this about the generalisation of fish and stuff, and we call it rock, and there was a big movement to try and stop that, which I think is still ongoing now. So
it's weird because a lot of the time it's so if you went to like the supermarket and you kind of look at the meat sort of counter, and it will have sort of beef and lamb and chicken and all that kind of stuff, and then you'll just have like fish. You're like, oh, okay, well, what fish? It'll be like, if you went to pick up some beef mince and it just went meat. You're like, okay, I kind of want to. The fact that you're not specifically saying cow beef mince is a little distressing. But in this case, there's that dichotomy of, actually, it's just fish. So we'll just call it flake or rock or whatever, because we don't want to specifically say it's this.
I think in the UK as well, if I remember rightly, the story with the whole rocks situation, it basically turned out that a lot of fishermen were just putting shark in there, and they were endangered shark. But there was no checklist. Again, I'm not a fisherman, I don't know. They weren't declaring it, or they were just saying, that's just some rock, and then they sell it to the the fish and chip shops as rock. So there was no there needs to be some proper guidelines and education, and like you say, labeling. Just label stuff what it is. If you don't like it, then that means then people, the fishermen, know not to catch it. So then they can focus their energy on actual fish that they can catch more of.
Apparently, in a recent survey that observed the menus of 70 fish and chip shops that sold shark meat, it was found that less than a third, so 29% of shark meat on sale referred to its specific species. So it's being sold, but it's not specifically saying, it's this or that. So Dr. Guida, it'll be further up in the article who that is. On average, $2 is the difference between eating an endangered shark and a sustainable alternative. But you wouldn't necessarily have to leave the shop to pick something more sustainable. So it's like, there is an alternative. It's just a matter of just asking. So yeah, if you do go down to the sort of fish and chip shop and just sort of say, oh, do you know what this is? And try and be a bit more sort of savvy over what we're ordering, and that way the fishermen don't get penalised because they're doing all their hard work and then no one's sort of buying their catch because no one wants flake anymore. The endangered sharks hopefully don't get caught anymore.
Exactly.
And whilst we're talking about sharks, we're going to talk about a nurse shark in in Florida who got a little bit frisky with a snorkeler. I don't know if he's actually named in this article. So this guy, he was snorkeling around sort of the Florida Keys, just doing his thing, just sort of getting out and about, and all of a sudden he came across a nurse shark that basically took offence to him and tried to take a bite out of his nipple. So he was just in a t-shirt and board shorts, obviously the snorkeler, not the nurse shark.
Yeah, I was going to say, nurse shark.
And he couldn't get it off. This thing had just latched onto his nipple and just wasn't letting go. So he's like, what the heck do I do? So he basically walked out of the water. This like nurse shark just kind of like attached onto him. And yeah, he was like, how the heck am I going to get this thing off me? Because you just could not undo its jaws. So we went into like a local shop like across the road from the water, and basically said, dude, can you help me? The guy was super chilled out. I don't think he was in a great amount of pain, and he could see the funny side of this. So he's like, dude, can you help me get this off? And the shopkeeper or whoever it was like, yeah, I'll help you, but only if I can like take a picture of it first. And he was like, yeah, but as long as I can get a copy of that picture, because this is kind of funny. Yeah. So they got a pair of pliers to kind of ease the jaws open. Eventually they got the shark off. They didn't harm the shark. They got the shark back in the water as soon as possible. But yeah, as he was sort of going towards him with the pair of pliers, the guy was like, right, so how keen are you on like keeping your nipple? Because it might be going with the shark. And this guy, yeah, apparently he was super chill about it, and he was like, oh, dude, it's like I'm not overly attached to my nipple, but I'd rather keep it if I could. And yeah, they managed to sort of prise the animal's mouth open, prized it open, and yeah, sort of went to and put it back in the water. Everyone was laughing, but yeah.
That's the latest Jaws movie I'd love to see. Jaws 5 just aims for the nipples. That'd be a B movie. And you'd get some like, they'll do it where it's like a big busty lady. She goes into the and then the nurse sharks attack her, and then she'll come out and there'll be like nipple tassels, but it'll be these sharks.
It'll be Jaws 3 double D like Piranha.
Yes.
Just
yes.
God.
That's funny though. That's the right attitude to have. You don't take it seriously.
Yeah, he was quite chilled about it, and he could see the funny side of it. Obviously, didn't want to harm the shark, but it's like, oh, dude, just let go.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, there are worse places that it could have latched itself onto. So yeah.
Yeah. It's good as well, like, because if that had got attached to the wrong person, it's like, it tried to eat me, then they would kill that shark, and then there'd be like a big cull. These nurse sharks, you know, you have great white hunts, don't you? When a surfer gets chomped on,
we're just going after a nurse shark.
Yeah. Let's get it. Oh, that's anyway, the right story to have on a Monday morning.
Yeah, that's it. Just end on a high. Everyone walked home. Everyone was happy.
And he's gonna have some cool scars on his nipple, if not a deformed nipple. So
Yeah, he's trying to pick up girls. It's like, oh, do you want to see my the scar from my shark attack?
Yeah, exactly.
it's on my nipple.
It's a lad that that is an icebreaker for any party, any meeting, any job interview. It's like, I survived a shark attack. Do you want to see my nipple? You're hired, mate. You are hired.
It's a little bit of an anticlimax if you're kind of boasting about surviving a shark attack. You're like, oh, okay, how big was the shark? It's like, I don't know, about 2 feet, maybe 1.5. It was a nurse shark. Anyway, that's it for our news stories. If you have any interesting sort of underwater news stories or any petitions that you want sort of more people to sign, let us know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, comments, queries, corrections, of course, let us know down in the below. If you have any questions that you want answered, if you use the hashtag #AskMark, so just hit that £. People don't call it £, anymore, do they?
No.
I'm showing my age when I call it £.
You old man, you.
So it's hashtag and then ASKMARK, ask Mark. And that's just...
Sorry, someone put on the comments, I thought Shaun said ask Mark the other day. I thought that was well funny. Hashtag ask Mark.
Oh, no, that's a very different hashtag for a different day.
That's for Mark's other YouTube channel.
After Dark. Simply Scuba Red. No. So yeah, if you use sort of ask Mark as if you're asking me a question and then ask the question, it just makes it a lot easier for us to find it, and that'll all sort of get answered on our Friday Q&A show. So stay tuned for that. As I said earlier, don't forget to subscribe to the Simply Scuba channel, but also head over to simplyscuba.com and sign up to the emailing list, and you'll get sort of discount codes emailed to you occasionally, as well as sort of new in emails. We try not to spam you too much because I get 700,000 emails from all sorts of shops, and we kind of understand that, so we dial it down, and we'll probably do one like once a week or something, so it's not too pestery, but you still get sort of what you need. You still get the latest scuba diving equipment and the occasional discount code. That's about it. You can listen to us as a podcast, so sort of sign up on Spotify. I said it correctly this time.
Yeah.
It's not Shopify, it's Spotify.
What's the name of Shearwater's new dive computer, Mark?
It's the Peregrine.
Hey! Give the man a prize.
It begins with P. It's not a penguin. It's not a pterodactyl. It's
Peregrine.
The paraffin.
No, not the paraffin.
That's it today. If you want to say anything, let us know down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and of course, safe diving.
Stay classy, scuba divers.